All right, let's go ahead and get started. Thank you for joining us. I'm Terry Kimball, President and CEO here at the Chandler Chamber, and I am so excited to bring you today's topic. I'm reading the digital tea leaves, Google Analytics and Google Ads, brought to you in part by the City of Chandler Industrial Development Authority. Today we have with us Mark Stewart with Concept to Completion, as well as Jillian Grammer. Thank you both for joining us today.
My pleasure.
So let me give you a little bit of background about our presenters. Mark has over 25 years of experience as a Fortune 50 leader and through founding his own businesses. Mark has launched multiple brands from scratch and has either founded or co-founded 3 startups in electronics, sporting goods, and general consumer product goods industry. Mark has an intimate understanding of marketing in the modern age, and having experience in retailers such as Target, Walgreens, Walmart, Canadian Tire, and Amazon, Mark can provide insight into common marketing and retail strategies. Mark has recently been appointed as the Vice Mayor of Chandler, Arizona City of Chandler Council, and represents the Job Creators Network as an Arizona State Ambassador. So welcome, Mark, and thank you. And it's not because you're Vice Mayor that you're here, it's because of Concept to Completion. All right, and Jillian, we have Jillian Grammer, helps small businesses grow a strong online presence that targets audiences who convert. She is committed to communicating a brand's unique value and story through organic and paid strategies. As a marketing content manager for Concept to Completion, she is responsible for the internal and external marketing content and execution duties. She creates, executes, and delivers marketing for Concept to Completion clients, including but not limited to social media, email marketing, creative, design, blog, video development, content creation, Google AdWords, and Facebook ads, and just about anything, because she is all over social media. She's really as I always tease Mark, she's really the brains behind the operation, huh? All right, Mark, you're on.
Yes. So
all kidding aside, welcome both of you. You know, our members love to hear from you and love your tips, and they always learn from you. So what have you got for us today?
This is going to be a great one. Great. Thanks for the great intro, Terry. And we really appreciate everything you're doing at the Chamber. We are, I think the nose of the plane is tilting up. We're heading out of this pandemic. I'm seeing some really good numbers from revenues at the city, and businesses are starting to recover. We have had some businesses unfortunately suffer from this pandemic, but I think these type of seminars and these events that you've been putting on at the Chamber have been instrumental in helping people recover and stay positive as we pull out of this thing. So I'm really excited about what 2021 has in store, not just for Arizona and Chandler, but for our country. And I think we're in a great place to really come out of this with the wheels spinning. So part of what we're trying to accomplish, though, is we just realized through this pandemic how important digital footprint is and how important marketing can be for gaining market share, or even making people continue to make people aware about your business. And so we are really focused on getting you a little bit more dialed in with relation to Google and Google AdWords. Google, and I hope I'm not stealing your thunder here, Jillian, but Google represents about 90% of all online searches. So if you're not doing activity and you're not paying attention to your SEO and your Google AdWords and things like that, you're really behind the curve as it relates to your digital footprint and your digital wake. So today we're going to talk about reading the digital tea leaves, and we're going to talk about Google Analytics and Google AdWords. Primarily, what is Google Analytics? Why is it important to sign up and start paying attention? How do we add the Google Pixel to our website? This is a basic. If you don't have this, you definitely need to do this, and for free. Send us an email when this is over at concept@2completion. Again, that's concept@2completion, the number 2.com, and we will send you an instructional video on how to get that pixel added to your website so you can get your web designer, or you can even do it yourself if you have a little bit of access to your back end. More importantly, we want to find out and we want to share with you what type of information analytics tracks and what you can glean from that information, because using that will help you identify where people are finding out about your business and how we can use that analytics to understand our audience, to be able to craft messaging that reaches them and that scratches that itch that they may have, especially when they're on search. And then really understand the difference between what direct, social, organic, and all the different things that Google tracks on where your traffic's coming to your website as such. So we'll also get into Google AdWords, which is how many searches are done in each minute. You'll be blown away by that number. Why everyone needs a Google friendly site. What does it mean to be Google friendly? What are Google ads? How does it work? And how do you sign up for Google ads, and why Google ads are so important? So that'll take us to the next slide. So Jay, where are we at here? Are you doing this one? Are we going? We didn't have a brief before this because we kind of know this like the back of our hand.
No, you're good. So just to kind of lay out a roadmap for the conversation. So you'll cover Google Analytics and then I'll take over for Google Ads. Good,
because you know that a lot better than I do. So Google Analytics is a basic web analytics service that Google offers to track and report your website. I think everybody knows that. And I think the big picture here is that it just tells you how well your site is performing. There's other things you can do as it relates to Google Speed Analytics and things like that to see how fast your website is responding, et cetera. But we really want to dive into what is happening when somebody gets to your website, what they're looking for, where they're coming from to get to your website in the first place. And Google Analytics collects all that information based on a little pixel that you're going to put into your website that basically tracks when people. Have you ever seen those buttons where it says, this website's putting cookies on your desktop so it can track where you're going? That's what that's for, is so that you can so that Google can grab that information. So the great thing about Google is it displays the information in a pretty easy to read format. There is a lot of information. We're just going to highlight some of the most important things that you need to know about. And then we'll talk about the reports that you can use to gain the insight that you need into what people are visiting and why they're visiting. So there are three main applications of Google Analytics. There's Google Analytics for marketing, there's Google Analytics to improve site performance, and there's analytics to aid your SEO. And just a real quick definition, SEO is search engine optimization. And so there are certain things you can do to your website to make sure that it's SEO friendly, search engine optimization friendly, which is just what it sounds like. It's a search engine, which is Google. Once you type in a search, you want to make sure that your website has the words that somebody might put in to search for your business. So there's a lot of words on this page, but I'm just going to highlight some of the key information here. We want to find out for analytics for marketing is how much traffic's being driven to your website and ways to hopefully increase that. We want to see which websites are referring visitors to you. We want to see where your visitors live within a geofence. So for example, if somebody's typing in restaurants near me, we want to see how far away that Google, somebody's getting to your website, how far away people are searching for that. And then, for example, we want to look at the conversion rate from visitors from different channels. I think another important part of this is really understanding the analytics to understand your site performance. Which of your pages are getting the most traffic? Yesterday, we were looking with one of our clients, and we recognized that one of their blogs, which had some backlinks and was getting shared, was driving most of their traffic to the website over the past 2 weeks. So we were really excited about that. It means that we had created SEO through the blog that was driving people back to the website to find out more about their website. So when people are on your site, what page do they normally leave from, right? Where do they go while they're navigating around in your site? So we like to track the exit page to see what it is that they see that might turn them off and they might leave, or may take them to the contact form or something like that. Because ultimately, if you get somebody to your website, you want to hang on to them. You want to be able to get their email, or you want to be able to track them or retarget them or remarket to them. And then we really want to find out how fast our pages load. If I think that the average is, and Jillian, fix this if I'm wrong, if your page takes longer than 1.5 seconds to load, people jump. They just leave. So probably the most important thing, if you're taking a note right now, check your website speed. And if it is over 2.5 seconds, you got to get it fixed. And sometimes, and sometimes this is, I hate to tell you this, but sometimes that means changing your theme, changing your server, doing something that makes your your website much faster. And so so you need to keep an eye on that. And the last thing we'll talk about is analytics to aid your SEO. So we can really figure out which one of your landing pages is getting the most traffic, and we can look at the words that are built into the back end and the front end. So when those search queries come in from Google, that your pages basically mirror what somebody might type in. I'll give you a quick example. If I were looking for, let's say, the hottest softball bat, right? I played softball last night, old man softball, but I type in the hottest or the best softball bat. The pages that are going to pop up organically when I type in this search are pages or websites that have hottest softball bat in their page. That's what's going to pop up the most. And the ones that get the most traffic, the ones that don't have pop-ups, the ones that are the faster, Google scrolls all that information and raises those up so that they end up on the first page. And then I think the last thing you want to understand is, what is your site's bounce rate from visitors from different sources? So we'll go to the next slide. There's a lot here, guys, so just bear with me. So when we add Google Analytics to our website, this is a must. You have to do this. And you may not like that Google is the monopoly of the search engine optimization world or the search engine optimization. It's a reality. You need to be there, and you need to have your tracking code on there. So what you want to do is, if you haven't signed up for Google Analytics, you should. It's very, very easy to do. Just type in Google Analytics and it'll walk you through the process. Google has made it very small business and user friendly. Go into your, I think it's account settings. I'm sorry, go into your account settings, which is down at the bottom. I'm using my mouse, but you can't see me use it. But it's down in the bottom left. It's the little wheel. And then you're going to go to your tracking info. You're going to go to tracking code. And then you're going to grab that tracking code and you're going to give that to your webmaster, or you're going to put that into your website. So yeah, that's pretty much that easy. And you want to add that to every page if you can. Jay, anything to add?
Yeah, so just a tip for adding it to every single page is that you could put that code in the header and the footer of each site, or sorry, the header and footer of your website, which shows up on every single page. So you're able to track every single page and get information for how many people are visiting each page. And that's just very valuable information.
Yeah, we were with a client last week that didn't have a footer, right? They didn't use a footer on their website. And it really concerned me because it made me scared that their analytics were not showing up. We weren't doing Google Analytics and AdWords for them yet. But when I saw that, it really made me like raise my eyebrow. So we talked about it and they have a footer now. But anyway, next slide, please. So again, back to what information does analytics track? It tracks your behavior. Where do people go when they're on your site? It attracts the audience, even down to the demographic, how old they are, where they live. Their interests, believe it or not, Google's tracking all that information, what kind of technology and what kind of computer they're using. It'll also tell you the acquisition, which is what I love the most. I want to know where people are coming from to get to my website. So it's tracking all that traffic that comes into your website, and it's looking at the keywords, what people type in to find your website, and all that kind of stuff. It's like keeping a log of everything that happens before somebody even gets to you. It'll go back and track all that data, and then you can see exactly what somebody did and how they found your page. The reason that's important is because you're going to use that information to craft messaging on your website or in your blog or whatever it may be that mirrors that activity, because there's more people out there doing the same thing, and we want to make sure that we're getting that information gathered. And then I think the most important thing is that if we do some AdWords, we can talk about what our goals are for those AdWords, the advertising. We can set goals and we can convert those people, and we can find out what's working to convert. So we do that for a number of our clients, and we tweak it nonstop. We're always messing with it, trying to optimize that conversion rate to make it the least expensive it can possibly be, and make sure that we hit as many eyeballs as we can. So Jay?
Yeah, I just really want to emphasize how important the information on here is. Acquisition especially, that's the one that Mark mentioned we mainly look at. It tells us where people are coming from to access our website, and you can use that to edit your marketing plan and revise your marketing plan and see, okay, if I have majority of our social users are coming from LinkedIn, I need to put our advertising money in LinkedIn because that's where people are coming from.
Amen.
So yeah.
That's absolutely perfectly said. We have a couple of clients that are entirely different in where their traffic comes from because of the type of businesses that they are. And so what we've done is we've adapted our marketing strategy. And I'll just follow my sword here. At first, we were really pushing Facebook advertising, and it just wasn't resonating. It wasn't a place where people wanted to find out information about their company. And so we've reimagined, or excuse me, we refocused our dollars and we refocused our energy on LinkedIn, and it has paid off in dividends. I mean, it's been a total change to the traffic awareness and all the things that are part of the marketing funnel. But we wouldn't have known that without Google Analytics. You're just guessing. You're just putting stuff out there, and you're like, hey, I hope somebody sees this. And when you dive into Google Analytics, you can really understand it a lot better. So by understanding your audience, I think is the most important thing with this. You may think you know who's tracking your business online, and you may think you know who your ideal customer is. But when you get into analytics and you look at the demographics of your category or of your business and people that are following you and showing up on your website, then you'll get a real clear understanding of who you are resonating with the most, and whether or not you're primarily targeting females or males. You'll find out who's showing up by doing a deep dive into your demographics within your Google Analytics tab. Once you get, here's the thing, once you get into Google Analytics, you'll get hooked on the data because you can use that data to really go out. It's like if somebody walked into your storefront, physically walked into your storefront, you would have a quick glimpse of who they are and what they might be looking for, just based on conversations that you may have with them, or if they're I'm coming up with this off the top of my head, but if you're like, I've got a friend who owns a meat market, right? And so when people walk into his door, his first thing that he says to them is, how you doing? How can I help you? What are you looking for today, right? And they'll tell him exactly what they want because they're having a face-to-face conversation. You don't have that luxury on analytics, but you can tell who's showing up to your website, and you can craft messaging that's going to resonate with that particular group or that particular age group. So we'll go to the next slide. So acquisition. These are the 7 or so channel groupings that Google puts out, which is organic search, direct, social, referral, email, other, and paid search. And the difference between all these are key, right? So when somebody shows up to your site, and you'll see the lion's share of visitors for this particular site, 6,611 visitors to this site are people that come to your website after searching google.com and other search engines. And the other thing is that direct or visitors come to your website that are typing in your direct URL. So the key here is that on organic search, people are typing in something about your industry, and then they're showing up to your website because you popped up on Google, or maybe you showed up on the sidebar in the maps, or maybe there was something in your Google search that your website had on its homepage that attracted people and they came to your website. The other thing is that there's a what's the little brief summary of the website call, or the link on Google called, Jillian, where you type in the description of what the website is? I forget what that's called.
Where it just shows a preview of what's on the page.
Yeah, there's a preview. If you have the correct keywords in your preview that somebody's looking for, that's so key as well. But that can drive organic search. Social is people that have come to your website from social search. You don't want to forget about that, because that's somebody that is literally probably just seeing your business for the first time. They may or may not have been they weren't looking for it, and they stumbled across your business, and then they showed up to your business, your website, through a social channel. So that is a pure awareness program. So top of the funnel is awareness. People that have never heard of you before, you've hit them with something on social media where they've said, okay, this is interesting to me. I want to find out more about it. And then referral is visitors that come to your website from another website by clicking on a link. That happens a lot with blogs. Custom campaign tracking, and then paid search. So paid search is key. This particular example would not be the best example of what paid search usually is. Usually that'll account for about 25 to 40% of your traffic if you do your Google AdWords the right way. Anything you want to add to this slide, Jay?
Yeah, I mean, I would say paid search is normally higher up. For this specific account, we haven't started paid ads, so that's why we're seeing it at the bottom, but just very valuable information. Again, you can just use in your marketing strategy.
Yeah, one of the things about paid ads is you can just literally increase your ad traffic and website traffic with Google AdWords. And I think ultimately then you can create more conversion and you can create more stickiness for people that are coming to your website because you've created an ad for something they're exactly looking for. And as we get into keywords in Google AdWords, I don't want to steal Jillian's thunder here. We're going to really hit some key highlights and some key points on how to maximize that. So on this particular slide here, I don't need you to write that down, but I definitely want you to grab this link, and I'll drop it in the chat. Is developers.google.com speed page insights. This will give you a real clear understanding. And this is a broken website, by the way. This will give you a clear understanding of how long it takes for somebody to actually connect with your website online. You can see time to interaction is 14.7 seconds. The first thing that you see on this particular website is 6.3 seconds. 6.3 seconds means your bounce rate is going to probably be in the 90 percentile range. When somebody has to wait over 2.5 seconds to get to your website, they're just going to leave. And so that's where your bounce rate starts to go up in the 80s, 90s. Sometimes it can get up to 95% because people aren't going to wait. They're just going to go find somebody else that has a better acting, just a better website. Here's the thing about that is that you've lost them forever because their first experience with your business was a bad experience. And they figure if this guy can't do a website or this lady can't do a website right, why would I trust them with doing my business? So just keep that in mind. Your website is super important.
You would think Tesla would have a really great website, but guess not.
This is Tesla's?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to tweet at Elon Musk. So one of the things that you can do on Google is you can go into their Analytics Academy. You can find out, you can do some coaching and some, you can go into, there are free online courses. Sorry, somebody just walked in my office. My apologies.
No, you're good. So yeah, they just have free training if you want to take a deeper dive into Google Analytics, more than we did today. They have a ton of courses for free and at different levels of your knowledge.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we're going to move our discussion into Google Ads. And to understand how Google Ads works, it's important to understand how Google works first. When someone has a question, thought, or pain point, they go to Google and search for it. Hence the phrase, just Google it. That's what anyone says when someone asks you a question and you don't know the answer, you're like, just Google it. This is your opportunity to have your business show up for the product or service they didn't even know they needed until they saw the results page. You are there to offer a solution for that person's search. Now, a lot of searches are happening per minute. In fact, 3.8 million searches are happening per minute on average across the globe. So how do you ensure that your business shows up at the top of the results page? The answer is Google Ads. Before we continue, I'd like to take a step back and emphasize just how big Google is. Google dominates the search engine market. Mark touched on this earlier. It maintains 92% of market share. That's insane. So Google is in between advertisers and websites. So it's essentially like the gatekeeper in between. And just for reference, Bing's market share is 2% and Yahoo is 1%. So even further, 37% of share of the 130 billion United States digital marketing ad budget belongs to Google. So you might be wondering, how does Google determine which sites show up at the top of the results list? this leads us into why everyone needs a Google-friendly website. So Mark touched on this earlier, but Google crawls web pages. There are 1.5 billion websites on the web. I think 200 million of those are active websites, but essentially Google needs a way to organize and file these websites. And this is called an index, and it's just a giant library. So a Google bot visits new and updated websites to be added to the Google index. The software pays special attention to three things: new sites, changes to existing sites, and dead links. Google takes a look at text, non-text context, and overall visual layout to decide where it should appear in the search results. And to better that, Google is able to understand your website. They're able to match it to the person who is looking for your content. All right, so within Google, there's organic results, and this is stuff Google puts here for free because it's just really good content. And to get to the top of the page on Google, you have to pay. This is called Google Ads. What exactly is Google Ads? Well, according to Google, Google Ads is an online advertising platform where advertisers bid to show their offering to website users. And through Google Ads, you only pay for an actual measurable result, such as your website click, business call, or whatever you set your campaign objective as. And this structure is known as pay per click, which is really nice because you're only paying when someone's actually converting compared to other forms of advertising online. So what happens when there's multiple businesses trying to get to the top of the page? Here's a quick breakdown of how Google Ads works, and we'll use C2C as an example. We can tell Google we're willing to pay $1 every time someone clicks on our ad for the keyword marketing agency. Now, someone else can come along and say they're willing to pay $1.10 for every time someone clicks on their ad for the keyword marketing agency. It's a bidding system. There's only so many spots on the paid ad portion of the results page. When you go to Google and you look at your results page, you'll see there's normally like 2 or 3 ads on the top, and then it goes into organic results. And at the bottom, there'll be some, and it all depends on where you're placed in those results. It's also nice knowing that you pay $1, for example, every time someone clicks on your ad. And if you know that 1 in 10 people who click on your ad leads to a sale, let's say a sale is $20 profit, you spend $10 for a $20 profit. And that's what makes Google Ads so powerful. But Google does factor in other things besides spend. They also look at quality score of the ad format, and other things. Now there's a few different ad formats that you can pick depending on what your ad objective is. There's search campaigns, so this is text ads on the search results. There's display campaigns, which is image ads on other websites. Video campaigns, so these are the skippable ads before YouTube videos. Shopping campaigns, so if you have an actual product that you're selling, this would be for you. App campaigns, if you have an app, this would obviously be for you. Local campaigns, so you can promote your location. And then smart campaigns. And smart campaigns are a good place to start if you're new to Google Ads, because it automates a lot of the information for you. And you will see fairly good results from that.
So one thing I want to add, Jay, is that when we are looking at return on investment for a particular business that we're working with and we're managing their AdWords, it's very important for us to look at what they want to spend for a sale, or what they want to spend for a project. We have a client, House Interiors. They're a premium home remodeler here in town, and their particular projects have a certain range within them. And so when we look at what it's worth to them to be top of the Google AdWords page, and we look at the return on investment on what they'll pay if somebody types in home remodeling near me, or I need a home remodel, or I want to remodel my kitchen, we're willing to pay a pretty good penny for that particular click to get to our website, or for them to call us because we know that if we can land 1 out of 10, as Jillian mentioned, it's worth $100 to get those 10 clicks. So $10 a click. They don't pay that much because we've been able to fine tune our keyword strategy so that they don't have to, but it's worth every penny. And we've seen our website traffic double since we've been working on that with them. So go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, and that's another thing. What makes Google Ads so great is there's so many different settings that in targeting that you can choose. You can choose where the person that's looking the keyword up, where they're located, what time they're searching at. You can get into really detailed targeting here and make sure that your ads are really paying off. Okay, so to set up your Google Ads account, you're just going to go to ads.google.com to get started, and you'll begin your first campaign. So that is the thing, is when you're setting it up, it will make you create a campaign to get to the Google Ad dashboard interface. I would recommend taking this seriously, but once you get in, you can turn it off and then create a different one, but you do have to create an ad to get started. So you'll set your goals. So you could it'll ask you, do you want to get more calls? Do you want to increase your website visitors? Do you want to drive people to your website? And then you'll decide where you want to advertise. So that's your location. You'll create your message, and I would recommend doing at least 3 different messaging options. Depending on what the person types in, it'll show a different option, and this will just be more successful results for you. Then you can set your budget cap and then go live with it. And just like Google Analytics, Google Ads has a ton of free resources online. So this is their best practices, and they have a ton of free training if you really want to get into it. Okay, so why are Google Ads so important? So if you're not yet convinced that you can benefit from Google Ads, this is for you. So Google has a massive reach. We went into earlier their market share. You have capabilities that allow for a range of targeting. So you have a ton of different targeting options once you get into Google Ads. You can harness intent. So for example, someone typing in marketing agency in Chandler, Arizona would be someone who's more ready to work with someone than someone who's just typing in marketing. You can maintain full control of your campaigns at all times. So you can go in there and revise and edit your ads if they're not working to make sure that they are working how you want them to. You can bring any budget to the table. I want to say it recommends that you start with $1.02 or something to get started, but you can totally control how much you want to spend. You can see all the results laid out on an easy and understandable format in Google Ads. There's an expert mode, and then there's an easier mode that you can look at, and it's pretty user-friendly and easy to understand.
Just remember that if you back into what you can afford to spend, right, based on your return on investment, if you just get one more client, if you get one more person showing up, if you get one more piece of business, what's that worth to you? Where's the profit margin in your business? You should all know that. And then decide, that's how you can decide what it's worth to spend, right? And so you can spend whatever you want. And maybe your business is you really need some customers fast, right? So you make a deeper investment into Google AdWords so you can get more people to click on. I've got a former client who actually is running their Google AdWords now for themselves, and they're in the preschool business. And they live primarily within Google AdWords because they want, when somebody types in preschool near me, they want to be the top of the list, and they're willing to pay $15, $18 a click to get somebody in, because if they can get them into the tour of the school, they say that they land about 75% of the people that walk through their school. So it's worth every single penny for them to be up in the top of that page in the first list. And they also work on their organic words that they pop up naturally, organically, but they pay a lot of money on Google AdWords in order to get those customers.
Yeah, that's another thing, is it just helps you build brand awareness incredibly. It expedites your placement on the search results page. And that's the first place a lot of people go to when they're searching for a product or service is Google. So you want to be there.
Yep.
You can also earn more conversions and then maximize return on investment with different bidding strategies. So a really cool statistic here is that businesses make an average of $2 in revenue for every dollar they spend. So great return on investment there. More you spend, obviously it's going to reflect that. And then 72% of Google ad marketers plan to increase their pay-per-click budgets. So more and more people are realizing how important Google ads are. So if you're not already doing it, I would highly recommend implementing it into your marketing strategy. And then 70% of mobile searches call a business directly from Google search. So you can set up call campaigns and be on the top of the page when someone is looking up what your product or service offers and have them call you directly.
Yeah, that goes back to the example I just gave. You know, we have we have clients who, if they know if they can get somebody on the phone and they can talk to them about their business, they know they can convert them to either stop in or to convert into an actual business. So there's so many things you can do with Google AdWords as it relates to crafting your campaigns. It's just a lot of fun. So, and it works. That's the key, is it works. So if you're not on it, send us a note. We'll give you a little coaching tips. You can do it yourself. If you need help, we can do that as well. But we want you to follow us. We give these tips out all the time, little quick hitters on our Facebook page, on our Instagram. Follow us on LinkedIn and Twitter. We're always sharing marketing strategy, marketing content that you can use anytime, and we just give it out. We're in a sharing economy, and we believe that the rising tide raises all boats. So if we're all marketing better in our community in the Southeast Valley, it's going to help all businesses be better and grab market share, keep people employed, and do great things. So let's open it up to some questions. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got lots of questions here.
Oh no.
So the first one is, does this go hand in hand with GMB?
Google My Business. It does, but they are separate entities. It is important that you build your Google My Business page and you build it out. It's basically a free, what I'll say is an online website. It is a strategy that Google used to basically capture traffic that was going to your personal website, and they wanted to grab that traffic and keep it in-house so they could track you even more. It's certainly important to add Google My Business. They definitely work hand in hand. Jillian? The other thing is, like, if you look at the sidebar of Google, right, if you look at it, that's all Google My Business information.
Yeah, so Google My Business, it's like a free business profile listing on Google. So it's different than paid ads, and you can see different analytics within your Google My Business as well.
Yeah.
Okay. How much is a good budget to start if you're wanting to implement paid Google ads?
Do $1 a day and see what works. And what you'll get is you'll get an understanding of how much people are bidding for the particular keywords that you put into your Google AdWords. You can start at $100 a month to try to get a higher bid rate so that you're ranking above your competitors. So it depends on the industry. It depends on what your dollar ring is. It depends on what your competition is doing in your space. You might be surprised that somebody might not even be doing Google AdWords in your space, and you may get ads and the lion's share, 90% of the website traffic for 50 cents a click. It would depend on the industry. It would depend on who else is paying for ads and things like that. But whatever you do, just get into it. You'll learn it. And it's not throwing money away at all. You're going to get some clicks. You're going to get some traffic. You're going to learn more about people that are looking for your business. You're going to learn more about the keywords that you need to have on your website. It's just an important thing to implement into your marketing. Jay?
Yeah, there's also a tool within Google Ads called Keyword Planner that you can utilize and see how much each keyword costs. And you don't have to go after the ones that cost the most money. So there's different budgets that you can use for every business.
And you can change those too as well.
Oh yeah.
All right.
When we're busy, we turn it off. Like if we're at our bandwidth from like our clients, we just turn it off. So if you were at a preschool, right? I'm like my friend, right? If you had a preschool and all your classes were full and you had a waiting list, you don't really need to spend much money on AdWords. What you need to do is open another preschool.
And we can find you a location, right? All right. What about folks who have slow internet speeds or poor connection? Doesn't that get counted towards bounce rates?
Well, that's a nuanced question. So if you have a slow internet connection, you know it. So you know that you're when you show up to the website, it's loading slow because of your internet. Now, if you have a slow server, right, and your internet your website is stored on a slow server, like sometimes GoDaddy will throttle down small businesses like mine because we don't get the traffic that some of their big hitters hit, and those are the ones that are paying the lion's share of their bills. I'm not, I'm just I'm just a little guy. So what I did is I moved my website to a server called Namecheap. They're a little bit more they're a little bit more speed friendly. And so that's something to think about. But no, that doesn't have anything to do with your bounce rate per se.
Okay. Can you send the instructions for adding the pixel to the website?
Yes. I'll send you the link.
All right.
The
other question was, is that a black widow spider?
Where?
That crawls Google. Yep.
What happened? What'd I miss?
The spider that crawls Google. The image, it has a spider on it.
Yeah.
All right, that's awesome.
Oh, Jillian, thank goodness you're there to keep him in line. So other questions on our panelist. I do have a couple of questions. So you're talking about the Google Analytics. What would you, those people that are just starting to get into this, what is step 1, 2, and 3 baby steps?
Input your pattern.
Well, I think the 1, 2, and 3 step is 1, you've got to get your Google Pixel. You got to get that added, right? That's the first thing you want to accomplish. After you get that done, you want to start looking at what your traffic looks like. You want to start analyzing the kind of traffic that you're getting. And then you want to sign up for Google AdWords, probably in the same week, right? Within the same few days. Get signed up for Google AdWords and then build an ad, right? Take a look at it and just build an ad out. One of the great things about Google is that once you open a new account, somebody from Google will call you, right? Somebody will reach out to you via email. It might take a week or two, but they're going to reach out to you. It's a third party that Google hires to make sure that you get onboarded correctly. And they're going to spend about a half an hour walking you through your ad and getting you a basic setup. But the key is to get signed up for both Google Analytics and Google AdWords. Those are the 2 steps. There doesn't need to be any more deep than that. Just get signed up.
Well, and I know Jillian had mentioned earlier, there's different types of campaigns and so forth, and just kind of doing a deep dive into that. I thought that was really good information. So another question, does Google keep track of the traffic days/hours of website visitors?
They do. And that's a great information that you can use for your ads as well. If you see that people are accessing your website at a certain time, you can turn your Google ad on for that time, not have it run in hours where you're just going to be wasting money.
Facebook business.
Sorry, I'm trying to find a good link for for adding the Google Pixel. My apologies.
No, that's good. So, so now once you have how often should you be looking at your Google Analytics? Is it on a daily basis? Is it on a weekly basis?
I take a look at it once a week. You can look at it once a day. I think it's just great information. I love looking at analytics. So I look at it all the time, but I would say once a week is good, and that you'll see good results when you're looking at it once a week.
So, you talked about the market share with Google, but many of the new computers that people are buying, especially like HPs and so forth, automatically come with Bing. Obviously, Bing is paying for that to be able to help capture some of the market share. Comments on that?
Bing is not what people use. They literally, you know how I'm going to use a brand comment here, my years of branding experience. You know how people will interchange the term Coke for soda, or they'll interchange the word Kleenex for a tissue. Google is that for search engine. So what ends up happening is people just automatically go, I'm going to Google that. And they go to Google and they type it. Now I use Yahoo. I don't know why, but occasionally I will type in google.com. I know I'll type in google.com in order to do my searches. So I like to add extra steps to my life. But that's what.
Jillian, please help him.
I think if my computer came with Bing, I would automatically switch it to Google. That's just me. We might see it increase from 2% of their market share to maybe 5%. I don't think it'll be.
Yeah, Bing is like literally like 4 or 5% of search engine traffic. It's tiny. I don't know if that answered the question, but.
Oh, that's good information. Any other questions?
I dropped the analytics answer in the chat. The cool thing, and I can I share screens real quick? All right, cool. Can you guys see this? Can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
So here's the great thing. Just hit this. Well, this will be tracking my analytics, but just go down here and just click in. So it's in the link, right? I just put this in. There's some steps here on how to do it, right? You just click into Google Analytics and you start just tracking your stuff. So it's super easy, but let me go back so you can see it again. Right? The link is in the chat. And just start here and it'll walk you through. You know how when you get a new iPhone, all you gotta do is turn it on and start working. Google's tried to do that with relation to setup for analytics. Okay. But it's also going to share with you, you're going to need to add your tracking pixel. That's a little bit more challenging, but there's all the information you could ever want is here on analytics and here on analytics help.
Great. Well, with close, is there any last closing comments that you'd like to give to our viewers today, Mark?
Just do it. Just get on, just to use the Nike phrase, just do it. Just make sure you get your analytics set up and start, messing around with AdWords. It's going to help you win. You're going to win market share and you're going to win online market share, which is where everything is going that way.
Jillian, any additional comments?
Yeah, I mean, I think Mark said it well. Just start. It might sound intimidating just because it's new to you, but there's a ton of free resources out there and you can look up YouTube videos and I think you'll really see a good return on investment once you start using it.
Good. Well, I just, and Mark, it looks like somebody's asking also if you can put your LinkedIn in the chat because they would like to connect with you.
You know what? Everybody should do that. Go on your browser right now. We should all be friends on LinkedIn and drop your LinkedIn in the chat. We'll leave. And Terry, can we leave this on for maybe 5 minutes so people can click through?
We can. So we can do that. And, that's a great way to obviously network and keep involved. And I know that on your LinkedIn, you're constantly putting many articles and so forth. So good tips and tricks. So
yeah. If you follow the concept to completion page on LinkedIn, but every few days we put up some good content as it relates to marketing and things like that. Just some quick hitters, like I said. Same thing with Facebook, but just follow us and you can get some things to keep marketing top of mind, especially digitally.
All right.
Gina popped her LinkedIn in there. Thanks, Gina. I think we're already connected, though. Of course we're connected.
And what we'll also do is everybody who's on the call today, we will make sure that you get that list as well as the PowerPoint that was presented today. So I really appreciate that. And Mark and Jillian, thank you. Once again, you always give a jam-packed hour of learning tools and so forth to help our business. I really appreciate that. You want to tune in next week. We have Jill Hudson with Hudson Law. And if you've got questions for an attorney, now's the time. Succession planning, where do you start? COVID's kind of changed all of our lives forever. And she's got some great tips. And then you'll also be able to ask her some things. So Jill is a local attorney here, and she always she is a fountain of knowledge. So you just want to make sure that you really connect with that. So thank you again for joining us. Thank you to the City of Chandler Industrial Development Authority for continuing to make these programs possible for our businesses here in Chandler. Thanks again, and thanks for joining us. Have a great day.